My name is Logan Brown, and I am the Associate Public Relations and Consumer Engagement Manager for Rubbermaid Commercial Products. I'm excited to welcome you to this event and introduce Tyler James, who is our Marketing Intelligence Lead. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, Tyler will be walking us through his analysis of the current environment of commercial spaces and the new expectations that the COVID-19 pandemic has set for the cleaning industry.
Thanks, Logan. So today we want to walk through some key changes to what consumers expect to see in facility hygiene and what they expect to experience as they kind of re-enter the world, whenever that may be. So the first big takeaway to know is that 4% is the number of people that trust their employers or local businesses or other major businesses to tell them when it's safe to resume normal activities. So what that's really showing is that the whole idea of trust in brands and in public spaces has been flipped on its head, and people really need new reassurance that they're safe when they're out in public. And a big piece of this is not only going to be facility hygiene, but also the impact that other people have on facility hygiene. So fewer than half of consumers trust other people to adhere to social distancing and other safety measures, which then has direct impacts on their own perception of health safety. And it's now on these brands and these companies to reestablish this trust by refocusing who they are with cleaning and hygiene in mind. And so I thought a good way to start out would be to take a pulse check on where we stand and what consumer behavior is really looking like and what people are thinking. So as you can see in the pie graph on the left, 63% of people say they are very concerned about the virus as of September, and that's the highest level since April. And what we've really seen is that number has held pretty steady between 55 and 65% all the way through, and it's really settling at a steady state where we can probably say that at least half of the country is very concerned about their health while they're out in public. The chart on the right really kind of spells this out a little bit further and takes a view across key high traffic areas and takes a poll on if consumers and people in America feel safe in those places, and B, how likely they are to enter those places over the next 3 months. So as you can see from this, it does kind of match up with the concern level, where I'd say overall about 50% of people trust that these places are safe, while 50% do not. And the key is to focus on that 50% who don't, because those are the people we really have to reestablish this trust with and really drive home the point that their health is safe in your facilities and that their health safety is a priority going forward. And this is these are some statistics that further back this up. So calling out these, 6 really key high traffic areas that have really been transformed out of coronavirus, and these are really trends that are expected to be there for the long term. So just to hit on a few of these, property management, 73% of employees want to see active cleaning throughout the day in order to feel safe at work. In food service, 90% of consumers say their perception of a restaurant's hygiene practices influences whether or not they will dine in a restaurant. Education, people are obviously very concerned about going back to colleges or sending kids to school because of fears of spread or bringing the virus back home to the family. Retail is similar, and again, I'll call out hospitality as well here, with 63% of consumers indicating that cleanliness is now their primary category for selecting a hotel. So these stats really back up the importance of revisiting cleaning procedures and revisiting the supplies that we have on board to kind of really sell this message through and let people know that they're safe while they patronize your facilities. And this really kind of summarizes the 3 key areas that we're going to see this kind of build in the long term. And I think that this walk at the top really spells out the risk of not paying enough attention to what cleaning now means and what it will mean for businesses going forward. So, say you're a patron that's coming into a restaurant and you're someone that falls into that highly concerned area. If you're not seeing changes to the way that facility is conducting their cleaning, some of the things you might ask are, why aren't they taking this more seriously? The automatic assumption is going to be that it's in an effort to save money, which is going to be perceived as a trade-off between finances and protecting your patrons. That is obviously not going to reestablish trust with these people. They are going to feel not only distrustful, but likely betrayed and not come back. And on top of that, they're very likely to tell other people about their poor experience. So this kind of walk really just drives home the risk to brands and to companies that are not paying enough attention to facility cleaning and preparing for what that means as the country moves towards reopening and we move toward enticing more of those highly concerned people to come back out in public. And perception is really going to be key here, and patrons or consumers, customers, workers, whatever they may be, the people that come and go from your facility, they're going to perceive cleaning across three really key areas. So the building environment. Previously, Class A office buildings are a huge focus for large companies that want to attract and retain talent. Now the building's cleaning supplies and cleaning staff are going to need to match the quality of that building, because we're expecting much more visible and frequent cleaning, and what that's going to bring is a new tie-in for the brand. So whereas before cleaning was very behind the scenes, most people just thought of it as a check the box activity, it's now going to be front and center. And how does that really change what we need to be thinking about when we procure supplies and how we think about laying out procedures and timetables? That also spills into janitors kind of being viewed as the new security guard. There's going to be a visible presence throughout the day. Are they equipped with the right supplies and the right guidance to integrate into a more or less customer-facing role? And the third piece is going to be a cultural commitment. So this is something that's going to have to really be driven down from the top, much like sustainability has been in corporate America. So cleaning and hygiene and personal health, employee wellness, those are going to be new hot button topics that every company is trying to incorporate into their culture and to work into their marketing materials. And so those really changing dynamics we think are going to drive three primary trends, and a few of these we've touched on a little bit to this point, but three primary trends across virtually all high traffic verticals. And those are going to be an increased visibility of the cleaning staff and the materials they're using, increased frequency of cleaning and participation even from non-cleaning employees in the cleaning process, and then maximized efficacy. So consumer expectations have been reset higher on the types of products that should be being used, and people are doing their homework. So now 95% of consumers say they're just as likely or more likely to evaluate a product's ability to sanitize and disinfect versus merely clean. So people are reading their labels and they're understanding more what efficacy really means in cleaning, and it being less of a process of checking the box and more of a process of really getting down below the surface and making an impact. On the frequency side, 62% of customers cite cleaning surfaces after each interaction as an essential safety procedure. And so when you really think about that, every single interaction is significant, and there's no way that the janitorial staff alone will be able to cover that, especially in facilities like office buildings and hotels and even restaurants. So the general public and the workers in facilities that aren't necessarily responsible for cleaning are going to have to participate in that. How are facilities thinking about incorporating that in the future, and what procedures and training and products need to be in place for that to be done effectively and safely? And on the visibility side, 60% of consumers and employees say the consistent presence of visible cleaning is the most important aspect of their experience in a facility. And that is a significant shift, obviously, from prior to the pandemic. And again, these are really expected to be long-term changes in how people think and how people perceive brands and companies' commitment to them as customers. And this last part here I'll kind of call out is that these large high traffic facilities aren't only investing in completely rearranging and re-strategizing their cleaning procedures, but they're planning on using it in marketing. And it's going to be a critical part in, again, rebuilding that trust that's really been disrupted from this entire 2020 year and the craziness that we've really all seen. To take it a little bit further, businesses are responding. They're saying they are going to take action based on these demands we're seeing from customers and employees. So 78% of employers plan to visibly clean and sanitize the workplace during the workday, and 90% of employers plan to increase the frequency and depth of cleaning post-COVID. So that's post-COVID, including post-vaccine. And while this is all great, there's still a lot of challenges that a lot of these operators just haven't quite come to grips with. If you really think about it, this is a significant shift in the way that they've conducted their businesses prior, and a completely new field that most of them lack any sort of real expertise in. So they're looking for guidance on what needs to be done, and they're open to ideas and suggestions for improvement. So next we'll walk through a few of those areas that people might not be quite thinking about yet, and that they really should be thinking about. So if you think back to those trends, these next 3 slides are going to tie back to each of those 3 trends. So the first is visibility, and I think that this really hits it on the head. When you see this image, how does it make you feel? Would you feel like this image would help you establish brand trust, help you reinforce your brand's commitment to safety, or would it erode that? And again, people expect to see improvements, not just more of the same old. And that is a big risk going forward. So it's something that has to be addressed and thought about, and perception is going to be key. And this is a quote I pulled from ABM, who I think most people are probably aware, very large BSC contractor. This is from their Q&A and their most recent earnings call. And just to recall out that they plan to have cleaning staff front and center. It's about pulling people from the background to the foreground to really hammer home that perception that the facility is clean and that we have over-invested in making sure you're safe. The next is going to be on frequency. And I think most people know, even prior to the pandemic, workloads were excessive and they were difficult to manage, and getting through all the tasks that were required in a given day on time has been a pretty consistent challenge in the industry for quite a while. The big question now is, when you incorporate all these changes to cleaning that are going to come on the back of how consumer behavior has changed from COVID-19, how are we going to manage that 2 to 3 time increase in the amount of cleaning that needs to happen? And some stats that we've pulled already to kind of show that this is really becoming a problem even early on. These are from May of this year, just when kind of these new procedures were starting to be implemented. 91% of staff say they always, often, or sometimes have to rush because they don't have enough time. And 80% of cleaners say they don't have enough or the right equipment to do a quality job. These were big risks before. They are much bigger risks now. Those are 2 key areas where people are going to perceive cleaning, and any areas that look like they've been rushed through, missed, any corners that haven't been hit, anything like that is going to really hurt your effort to reestablish trust in those highly concerned consumers, especially that 50% we called out that have been steadily saying that they remain very concerned about their health, safety, and public. So we need to look for more efficient cleaning products and ways to do the job faster that enables our labor to do it in an efficient and effective way. Subpar work due to time constraints is already a major risk, and those rush tasks and that subpar work is going to be judged even more harshly by the people that are populating your building on a daily basis. So this is a critical piece of this that people really need to be thinking about now as we plan for what we expect to be a bigger reentry back into kind of the public world early or mid next year. Honestly, with the way the virus is going through winter, we don't expect a whole lot more reopening to happen in the coming months, but going into the first quarter and early of next year, a lot of facilities will really start to be thinking about that reentry and the growth and capacity that we're expecting to see. And then on to the higher efficacy standard side. So I remember I called out early on that 95% of consumers are now differentiating between a product's ability to disinfect and sanitize versus merely clean. And that's going to tie back again to that frequent cleaning of high touch surfaces. So, 60% or more saying that they want those surfaces cleaned after every single interaction. So what does this a workforce or staff that are going to be on site on a daily basis that need to facilitate that cleaning need? And one of our key things and key takeaways here we want people to understand is our microfiber products are a great solution for this. And like we mentioned too, a lot of people are really starting to pay more attention to reading their labels and understanding what efficacy really means for different products. And if you look at a lot of pre-saturated wipes, even disinfectant sprays that are a lot of people's go-to methods for cleaning, if you really look on the back, if you want to disinfect, most of those require surfaces to remain wet for 4 minutes with chemicals to properly disinfect. And again, there's a benefit to disinfection, but that disinfection does not necessarily remove the microbes or the germs. It might kill them, but it leaves little dead microbes and germs behind. And as you can see on this quote at the bottom, it is a key source of that provides a breeding ground for live pathogens, is that group of dead pathogens on a surface. And so that's a major risk factor, and we need to think about removal as a key point in all of that. And that's what microfiber really provides. And I think the image here that you're seeing really spells that out. So the key is removing the microbes, not just killing them. Even a dead microbe can provide a food source for live microbes and attract more instances of possible infection. And again, with these microfiber wipes being a great opportunity to leverage intraday cleaning, so cleaning throughout the day, those high-touch surfaces, arming staff with these just to wipe down surfaces on a regular basis is a great way to kind of combat that. Because if you think about new technologies like electrostatic sprayers and foggers, they're great, but they cannot be used when buildings are populated. So you really need to think about that intraday cleaning and how that's going to be tackled. And the last slide we're going to talk about is just what we're hearing from end users and what they're really looking for from manufacturers. And one key to this is understanding that the lines between consumer and commercial brands are starting to blur a little bit. And that's driven by this change in consumer behavior that we're seeing that's really leading to all the changes that are coming downstream from facility managers, BSCs, and the like. So companies are very open to more opportunities for sanitation and cleaning. They want education and they want new products that can help drive that home. But they need help and they want guidance. Like I said, this is uncharted territory for pretty much everyone, and we need to keep that in mind when we're talking to people out in these facilities and helping them understand what they're up against. Cost savings are needed, but most of those are expected to come through efficacy, versatility, and durability of products, not price. So we're seeing that people are willing to invest in better cleaning products to really drive home that commitment to hygiene and clean in their facilities, to reestablish that trust that's really been lost quite a bit along the way. And the ball is really in these facility operators and businesses' court to not only get back to their original customer base, but even go above and beyond and bring in new customers based on their commitment to keeping people safe and healthy in this new world. So with that, I'll end it, and I want to say thank you for having me. I am happy to answer any questions anyone has if you want to reach out directly, or feel free to reach out to your regional RCP rep. So thank you again, and have a great day.